Hello and welcome to Matt Minich's Bengals Chalk Talk on Orange and Black Insider. What we're going to do with this show is talk a little bit about X's and O's and what the Bengals are showing on film. So today I'll start with the Bills film and then get into a little bit of a preview of the Steelers. So personal note, there's going to be a little bit of negativity here at the beginning, but stick around. We will have play of the week at the end, and that's definitely definitely a positive and something worth sticking around for. What wasn't good though, starting on the offensive side of the ball, is going 0 for 5 on third downs in the first half. Overall, the Bengals had 6 drives and only 1 first down, ending mainly in punts, and then of course with John Ross's fumble on what was a one-play drive. They only had 1 first down, and it didn't come until their what was a 2-minute drill to begin with, but really led them nowhere. So we're going to look at what was going on in those situations. So we've got a 3rd and 5 here on the first drive. So setting this up, they didn't get the ball to start the game. They got the ball on the 37-yard line, 1st and 10. We got an incomplete pass on first down. On 2nd and long, 2nd and 10, Joe Mixon ran the ball for 5 yards. All right, and that's something that is a pet peeve of a lot of people, running the ball on 2nd and long. It set up this 3rd and 5 situation. Now, running the ball on 2nd and long, getting 5 yards. All right. It put you in a situation where all you needed was a 5-yard completion here, and they almost had it. They should have had it. So they run some crossing routes here, and Dalton is just completely off. So he throws the ball behind Auden Tate. He is getting some pressure on this. They're showing a double A gap blitz. They don't send those guys. I don't know how well he's seeing it. He's probably feeling it though. From around the left side, his left, the edge defender is coming around, giving Andre Smith all that he can handle. So a little bit of pressure here, but really just a ball that was way off the mark. And that really seemed to be the story of the first half of this Bills game for Andy Dalton. He could not hit anything. This is a 3rd and 5. That was a completion. That was moving the chains if that ball is thrown on target. Instead, we're bringing Huber on and we're punting the ball. So not a good look to start things off there. After the defense had done pretty well. Bills put together a drive following that, and they are eventually forced to punt. Defense holds true. Bengals get the ball back. So after an incomplete pass and a penalty, all right, they get pushed back. Joe Mixon on 1st and forever has an 11-yard carry. So good look there for Mixon. Mixon started off this game pretty strong. Definitely a big improvement from previous weeks in the run game. 2nd and 4, Dalton throws an incomplete pass. So that sets up a 3rd and 4. Again, it's third and pretty short. Shouldn't be that hard. Once again, the Bills are going to show a double A gap blitz here. All right, it's a little bit different the way they do it. They're stacking one of the backers. All right, but here they end up sending both those guys. So the Bengals struggle to pick this up, and Dalton has pressure in his face right away, and he just gets rid of the ball. Really, that's what happened here. He's trying to force it to Tate. Tate's not open. Based on where Tate is, it's probably, his hot read where he's supposed to go with the ball if he's got to get rid of it real fast. We do have an underneath route coming in just a little bit later than that from Tyler Boyd. That does appear to be at least a little bit more open, at least to where he would have been able to catch the ball. But he's probably getting tackled basically immediately, and it would have been a miracle if he had that, if he converted that first down. So, what it comes down to is Bengals aren't picking up the pressure. They didn't pick up the pressure. They have shown throughout the year so far that when they need to pass block, they can't protect their quarterback. In these situations where it's obvious and where teams, are able to tee off on the quarterback, they're not able to, to stand and hold against that, and that's going to be a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem as the year goes on. So next drive, again, Bills are able to move the ball a little bit there, and then they go down, they score, they get the 2-point conversion, and Bengals getting the ball, mixing runs for 3 yards, 2nd and 7, so another 2nd and long, and Mixon runs the ball on 2nd and long again. This time, not the results that you're looking for, a loss of a yard. So that brings up 3rd and 8. All right, so this is the longest 3rd down situation that they have had in the game. So they are looking at 3rd and 8 here, limits your options a little bit being at that depth. And once again, it's pressure on the quarterback. And the right side of the offensive line just gets collapsed. All right. I mean, really, that offensive line is basically, the defensive line is basically just bull rushing them and pushing them into the quarterback. We've got a stunt on the left side of the line. All right. Little line twist, and they send the outside rusher inside. And really, the center Trey Hopkins has gone the other direction, and Billy Price, the left guard here, he kind of sticks with his man, and he doesn't pass it off. So I mean, it's a little bit hard to tell here because technically, this does appear to be a man protection on that side because if it wasn't, the center should be sliding and helping. Mixon kind of peeks over there. You'd like to see the back over there if this is the man side. Mixon peeks over there, but doesn't actually come all the way over. And Price sticks with this guy, and they don't exchange. So at the end of the day, we've got Price and Smith really getting split by one guy. Neither one of them even really blocks him. And then we've got a rusher looping around and coming in straight for the quarterback. So once again, the pressure is all over Dalton. He gets hit as he throws, and that ball is lofting around it. NFL Game Pass thinks that it was intended for John Ross. I don't know where that thing was going. I mean, it's going to the sidelines now because they're punting. So that brings us to the end of the first quarter. Second quarter starts with a one-play drive that ends in a John Ross fumble. Andy Dalton was not good this week. John Ross wasn't helping either. Drop ball and a fumble in the first half. So certainly not a good look there. And the two did not connect for a big touchdown like they have in previous weeks. And the Bengals have really come to depend on that because they haven't been very good at putting together complete drives. So not a good look there. As we get to the next drive, all right, once again, another 3 and out for the Bengals. On first down, they throw a screen pass to Tyler Boyd. This was, you may have seen me writing about it earlier in the week, not a good idea. They motioned Ross out of there. The defense didn't really move, and they were in a situation where they didn't have enough guys to block what the defense had there. So the defense was able to tee off on Boyd as soon as that ball was thrown, and Boyd was tackled for a loss. So 2nd and 13. Now, as much as people don't like running the ball on 2nd and long, they're coming out and running the ball on 2nd and extra long. With Gio Bernard, he gets 3 yards and puts them in 3rd and 10. So this conservative approach with the screen and with the run on 2nd and 13 may be related to the field position. They don't feel they can protect the quarterback, and they're backed up on the 11-yard line here. And what do they do on 3rd and long? They go with another receiver screen. This was at least a better look for it. So they've got a 3-by-1 formation, and really there's the defender over the outside receiver and over one of the slots and a deep field safety. So they've got two guys to block the two guys that are there right there. Right, they got two receivers that can block the two defenders that are there immediately. And with the safety, you got to be able to make a move on that guy. So it's not a bad look to be able to run the screenplay, but there's some problems with it. Number one, Buffalo does a great job of pursuing it. Tremaine Evans comes in. They're getting great pursuit downfield. This ball goes to Alden Tate, which is not who I would throw this to in this situation. All right, this is a third and long screen. You throw a screen to a big guy like Tate when you're in a goal line situation or a short yardage situation where you're thinking, okay, if he can break one tackle, we're going to get it. Or you're thinking, okay, even if he gets hit, if he falls forward, he's a big guy, we're going to get it. That's why you go to a guy like Tate. Here, you want to get it to Ross. You want to get it to Erickson. You want to get it to Gio or even Joe Mixon. Put one of those guys out there. Erickson might be the best option because he can read it a little bit like a return. You're trying to get somebody who can make one or two guys miss and maybe get that pickup. You don't want to essentially punt on third down by giving it up. So not who I would have gone to. He catches the ball and he basically runs right into his first block, and that slows him up. He's not able to try and make a move on the safety at all. If he would have gone outside of it, maybe he could have done something on that safety, made a move, made somebody miss, avoided the pursuit from the inside. But the way it goes, nothing doing on it. So that gets us to the last drive of the first half. So the Bengals come out and they come out swinging. All right, they're passing the ball. It's 2 minutes and 11 seconds left. So they're trying to score. They're trying to do something before the half. And they are able to get a first down. All right, they throw one incompletion, then complete a 24-yard pass to Tate for a first down on second down. But then it's three more and we're out. So two incompletions later, it is 3rd and 10 is the situation they get into. They motion receiver out, get into a 3-by-1 set. All right, so it's a trips look with three receivers to Dalton's right. He's got a running back to his left and a receiver also split out to his left. So again, it's an obvious passing situation. We've already seen a couple incompletions on this drive because it's an obvious passing situation. They can't protect the quarterback when they need to and when the defense knows that they need to. They show a double A guy blitz, but then bail out. But Andre Smith is getting smoked. And that's really what it comes down to. Andre Smith gets absolutely smoked on this. They don't have really anybody on the right side containing Dalton. So if Dalton would have been able to scramble out to the right side, maybe he could have put something together. But as it happens, we do get a defensive tackle showing on that side. He has to scramble out to the left. Now, he doesn't have anything to the left. And this is something that, because all the receivers are initially on the right, we get a couple vertical routes on that side. We get a deep dig on that side. The receiver who split out to the left, he's actually really tight, so he's already trying to get across the formation. And the running back really wants to just check and get in front of the quarterback in the middle. So the running back does a good job of adjusting and trying to get out in front of him, but really there's nothing there, and he's being pursued quickly anyway. It's a good effort by Gio there, but now he's not even in a position to be able to create because the pressure has forced him not only to get outside of the pocket, but to get outside of the pocket, not the direction that you want him to be in. All right, so from here, we'll talk a little bit about the defense. All right, so we'll take a positive swing now. The defense has shown some improvements. And if you read my work, you're very familiar, as I was going off last week, about how bad their edges are. I still don't love the way they align. The fact of the matter is, NFL teams do a lot of things I don't necessarily like, and they can make up for it. Why? Because they have speed. They have team speed, and they have team speed at linebacker, and that's something that the Bengals have lacked. But they did improve in this area. They struggled last week from the linebacker position. They struggled holding the edge from the defensive end. We saw Hubbard really step up this week. Dunlap playing much better this week. But also from the defensive backs. I mean, last week, the defensive backs, you had Kirkpatrick, you had Jackson, you had Sean Williams, all these guys playing the edge and being responsible for that edge. And it was not a good deal. Those guys were not stepping up to make tackles. They weren't playing with the right leverage. They were whiffing, and it was a bad deal overall. But here we're going to see much better play from the defensive backs. So, look, bad edges last week, 2 weeks ago, against the 49ers. So Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator for the Bills, he's no dummy. He watches film too. He sees all that. So that's why the Bengals saw a lot of reverses and jet sweeps, things like that, trying to get to that edge, especially trying to get to that backside edge, just like the 49ers were gashing them on a week prior. So they get the reverse here. All right. They get the reverse, and it is it's a tight, compact formation. It's a 2x2 formation, and they flip it around to the receiver. Now, these receivers are trying to block on the corners, and they start off on Dre. They get a little hit on Dre. He comes off, gets on McCray. Both those guys fight through those blocks, and they get in there, and they tackle this thing for a loss of 3. So that's an excellent job there by both those guys, fighting through those blocks, being physical, really stepping up and doing their job and making that tackle for a loss. Also want to point out who, they're in man-to-man coverage right now, and Jackson is in man coverage with this reverse man. So he comes all the way from the far side, runs around, goes over the top of all the mess, and gets involved in the tackle as well. So great hustle and effort there by Jackson to come around and get involved in that. All right. So earlier in the game, Sean Williams was improving on this too, and that's something. It's really important for Sean Williams to be able to play the run. That's vital to what this defense does. They played him in the box quite a bit, especially 2 weeks ago. But he's going to have to be able to make plays on the edge. Here they get a motion into a bunch look and then a jet sweep coming back at Williams. All right, so this play gains 4 yards. I mean, that's a win for the offense. Not to be mistaken. Williams initially here, he gets driven back by this tight end. Tight end's bigger than him, he's stronger than him, but he does a good job of holding that block, holding that edge, and coming off and making a tackle. So I'd like him to hold his ground a little better, make that tackle a little sooner. But he does a pretty good job with that overall. All right, still room for improvement, but a good job. Hubbard, is lined up, and Hubbard this week was pretty much playing linebacker. He's pretty much a Sam linebacker on the line of scrimmage and under front a lot of the time. And here he releases with that tight end. So he goes out there and he gets involved with this tackle as well. It's essentially like the reverse of a crack replace when he gets involved in that tackle. I like seeing him pushing a little bit more, but we saw the defensive end screaming down the line and making some of these plays this week, particularly Hubbard. But Dunlap, had a really good play on something similar as well. Another thing that was good to see out of the defense was Jermaine Pratt. Everybody was calling for him after the linebackers looked bad a week ago. Like, where is this rookie? Why can't we get this guy on the field? Why are the Browns, playing their rookie linebacker that they drafted 2 rounds later, and we can't see ours? So we got that remedied this week. I'm going to take a look at a couple of clips, and this is kind of the Jermaine Pratt lightning round, so we can get in some clips here. But Jermaine, wow, I can't talk today. Pratt, first of all, helping on the edge. So we'll see. He is the linebacker on the left-hand side here. Great speed getting up, all right? He's on the offense's right, lined up over, in the C-gap, really. Great speed to the edge, engages with the blocker, and then when that thing cuts inside, he gets off and tries to get involved in the tackle. He's a touch late to get involved. That guy's already going down for no gain because of Sam Hubbard fighting through to get in there. But this is a much better job by Pratt. Definitely a positive to see out of him as we continue along into the second quarter. So Pratt got some time there. He got about 3 plays. That's what they were doing. They take out usually Brown, but I think they took out Preston. They took out Vigil for him once as well. They would get those guys out, give them like a 3-play breather, and get Pratt in. So this is a pass play. He's lined up as on the left side, the inside linebacker position. They get an out pass in that area. And really, this is a man coverage look for everybody else. They drop off a defensive tackle, which I know everybody loves. It's not Billings this time, but they drop off a defensive tackle, and essentially they're playing man, and then they've got 3 linebackers who are free. So Pratt sees that, and he breaks on it, and he gets out there and gets involved in the tackle. It's just great to see this kind of speed and burst from the linebacker position, because that is not something that the Bengals have had in recent years. And then a little bit later in the second quarter, all right, you get to see him actually playing Tampa 2. So we see him dropping off and covering a tight end as he's going vertical. So definitely something you like to see. Seeing him out there in pass protection, being able to run with guys, that is something, again, the Bengals have sorely needed. So that brought him, through the first half, some good reps there. Working him in every once in a while, getting him 3 plays, seeing some good stuff. Then we got to some not so good stuff, and he came in, starting the drive. I believe it was the Bills' second drive of the third quarter. And he's the backside linebacker, okay, on this play. The backside linebacker to the Bills' right as they are running a counter play, really, to the left. They got a guard pulling around. They're working up on a double team, and he just gets bulldozed. He comes in. He's high. He's not bending his knees, and he's taking on a guy who's 300-plus pounds. 300-plus pounds. So he's got to be better. He's got to lower his base and play better against that. So not a good look here. He gets bulldozed. Now, I like this, and I hate this. We didn't see him again the rest of the game. Hate it because I want to see the young guy out there. I want to give him a chance. But I love it because that's something that real coaches do. All right, that's something that good coaches do. When they put you out there, when you get a chance and you screw it up, you have to understand that there are consequences for that. You're only going to get so many opportunities. Watching the Patriots, they're up significantly. They put Jarrett Stidham in. He throws a pick 6. All right, they're still up by 2 scores. It's near the end of the game. They're going to win that game. Guess what? Tom Brady's back on the field the next drive. All right, that's what real coaches do. All right, no matter what the situation, there are consequences for these guys that screw up, especially the young guys who need to understand those things. So I like that they did that, even though I definitely would have liked to see more out of Jermaine Pratt. So now we are going to transition and start talking about next week. So the Bengals are playing the winless Pittsburgh Steelers, the winless and the Roethlisberger-less Pittsburgh Steelers. So definitely, a different kind of game. Not what we're used to seeing. It's been Roethlisberger up there for years. So a huge change there with Mason Rudolph. Now, Mason Rudolph is a guy I liked quite a bit coming out, and my understanding is the Bengals liked him too. I think he could have been a first-round draft pick in a different NFL draft, not one that was stacked with quarterbacks like it was the year he came out. Not saying he's a top pick, but I think he's a guy somebody takes a chance on in the first round. But that wasn't That wasn't his year. That wasn't his break with that. He's got a big arm. He's thrown some deep balls. The rookie Deontay Johnson looks real good. He's hooked up with Juju as well. But he's also thrown some picks. He's a young guy making young guy mistakes. He's throwing picks trying to force the ball into Juju. He's not Josh Allen. He's not a guy who's going to scramble and make some plays. He'll make bad decisions when you pressure him. Here's an example of him not really knowing how to react when he saw something he wasn't comfortable with. So you see on this play, the 49ers have, what essentially looks like an underfront with 5 down linemen, and they drop off this guy who's lined up like the 3 technique. He's in a 2-point all along, but that really throws off Rudolph. He's looking over there. He's confused. That guy's covering Juju, right? Juju's his binky. That's where he wants to go with the ball. So Juju's covered. And now the next receiver he's going to look at is the tight end here. That's double covered. And Mason has nowhere to go with it. He tries to scramble. He's able to pick up a yard. This is the sort of thing, like, you got to get him out of his comfort zone. So with a rookie quarterback like this, I think he's going to get better as the season goes along. I don't know if he's their future. Certainly doesn't look like it at the time. But I don't know if he's their future, but he will get better. And the Bengals' job on defense this week, the biggest job on defense this week, is to make sure this isn't the week that he gets better. So they need to confuse him. They need to pressure him, give him looks that he has not seen coming out of the Big 12. But yeah, he's getting more reps. He's going to get more comfortable. He's going to get better, and he's a pretty talented guy. So now defensively, obviously the big talk is about Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think Minkah and Edmonds make a pretty good little combination for them. Edmonds, I honestly didn't watch their defense in the first 2 weeks because I kind of thought it was pointless to watch them without Minkah. So I thought that would give me the wrong idea of what their defense really is. So I only watched their defense last week with Minkah, and those guys are pretty all right. I don't like the way they align. They align pretty wide. They open up things in the middle when they're in cover 2. But I think the problems are mostly with the corners in their passing game. Now Watt is a big time problem though, and here's a boot. They're running the ball away from Watt. He is screaming down the line for that boot. He sees that guy didn't have the ball. What does he do? He does something you're not supposed to be able to do. He plants his foot in the ground. He's not the quarterback player. He's supposed to be running that ball down, but he sees he didn't have it. He plants his foot in the ground. He runs right at that quarterback and pulls a Dikembe Mutombo right in his face and slaps that thing back at him. This dude's a freak. So he is going to be a problem in pass protection and in the run game. In pass protection, we can slow him down a little bit, putting multiple guys on him, using some fly motion, trying to kind of influence him out that direction. Here's an example of how the 49ers used him, played against him, though, in the run game, actually. So the 49ers game plan, a lot of what they were trying to do was based on the fact that the Steelers are extremely aggressive against tailback swings. I don't know why. I don't know why that appears to be a real big concern of their defense is tailback swings. But the 49ers come out, and they came out in a shotgun with a 2x2 set with 2 receivers on the left side and a tight end and a tightly aligned receiver to the right-hand side. So they motion one of the receivers from the left side into the backfield. You see them doing this a lot. And just a note, when I talk about, I say the receiver, I say the running back, I'm talking about where the guy's aligned. So if you see something on film and you're like, well, no, that guy's a receiver. Okay, I only care about where they end up lining up, because that's what matters at the end for the defense. The personnel is something you got to think about, really beforehand with that. So they motion that receiver into the backfield, and he continues in motion and ends up going in a jet swing action. So that jet swing takes a defender out of the box. All right, it extends that guy out of the box. Now they got to deal with Watt. How do they deal with Watt? They let him rush the passer, even though it's not a pass play. So they let him go upfield. Kittle hangs on, and if this is really a pass play, Garoppolo's going down. But Kittle is basically just keeping him from playing the run. Like he's not really pass blocking. It's not like he's kick stepping like a tackle word or something. But this is really just an influence play where they're letting Watt head upfield to take himself out. That leaves two defenders on that side of the formation. All right, they've got one down defensive lineman who is in a 4 technique on the tackle, and they've got the linebacker who's lined up in the A gap, basically like a 20 technique over the guard. So how are they going to block him? They're going to double team that defensive tackle with their 2 offensive linemen on that side. All right, the right tackle and the right guard, and they're going to take their left guard and pull them around, and that opens up a big time hole. All right, big time hole. And, they end up getting 6 yards on that play. So great use of scheme. We saw it firsthand, what Shanahan can do with scheme and how smart that guy is. So there's no shame in ripping off some of the stuff that he was doing to this team. So continuing on, as I said, the Steelers were, hell-bent on stopping that tailback swing play that, as I said, isn't always a tailback swing. It's often a wide receiver swing, but he's lined up at the tailback, so that's what we'll call it. So they took advantage of that in the passing game as well and used that to scheme players open. So actually, earlier in that quarter, the 49ers came out in a trips formation with the tight end on the backside, and they had trips lined up to their left. They motion the receiver into the backfield. So now they've got 2 backs in the backfield. All right, and it's it's basically split twins. Okay, now on the snap, that receiver just went to the backfield, runs a swing. And the innermost receiver, the remaining slot receiver, who's really a fullback, Kyle Juszczyk or something like that. I don't know. We played the Niners last week. I don't have to remember his name anymore or how to say it. But what he does is he runs at that defender and he chops his feet. All right? He chops his feet looking like he's going to block. Now, you got a fullback in front of you acting like he's going to block you. You're going to think he's going to block you. And that's how the defender reacts. And he kind of runs around him like he's biting up on that screen. So Juszczyk is wide open. That's a 22-yard completion for them. So they took advantage of how aggressive the Steelers were and moved the chains. And that's something the Bengals should be considering as well. They should be doing that. They should be using John Ross's speed or the fear of John Ross's speed against the Steelers team. Now, unfortunately, Ross hasn't really been used as that jet sweep guy this year. They need to use that because that's going to be more threatening to see than Tyler Boyd or Alex Erickson running it because everybody knows what his 40 is. And nobody wants to be, making SportsCenter for the wrong reason for getting torched by him. So that will make, that will influence them. People will bite when you use John Ross as bait. They will bite. All right, so another example is a pro twins, all right? And that's what I would call it. Everybody's a little bit different, but by my vernacular. So the 49ers came out with 2 receivers split out to the left-hand side and a tight end and a receiver split out to the right, all right? And this is going in. This is a red zone play on the 10-yard line going in. They motion in one of those receivers again, all right? So they motion in that receiver. He goes up into the backfield, and now it's split pro, right? Split formation, split backfield, excuse me. One back on either side of the quarterback, one receiver split out to the left, and a tight end and a receiver to the right, all right? Again, I don't care about personnel. That receiver to the right is actually a fullback. But that stuff happens all the time in the NFL. So now it's a double swing. All right. So that receiver that came in, he's swinging out to the right. All right. He's trying to influence the linebacker, Devin Bush, to get a little bit wider. All right. On the left-hand side, that tailback, he is also swinging out there. All right. So that tailback is going to swing out, and that really gets them to bite. All right. So the near linebacker, the linebacker on that side, and Minka Fitzpatrick, the safety over there, those guys both bite hard on that action. All right. Garoppolo, the last time Garoppolo didn't even pump fake. I don't even know if he looked at the swing and they bit on it. Here, he does a hard pump fake and spins around to the other side. All right. So they're really trying to sell it, and the Steelers are really biting on it. All right. Now, to their right, Devin Bush starts to widen out, right? George Kittle, the tight end, he delays. He doesn't go out right away. He looks like he's blocking, all right? Bush gets a little bit wider, maybe looking to thinking about helping out with that swing. All right, maybe it's just what he does. I don't know. And the other safety, getting real wide too. These safeties are always wide when they have two deep. Now they're getting them even wider, all right? They just got the two linebackers in the middle of the formation to get out wide. Now they delay release Kittle, boom, and pop that ball in there to him. That's an easy completion. Not a big gainer for them because Bush does a good job, tracks it down, but there's no way Bush was going to make a play on that ball if Garoppolo was even halfway accurate with it. Just based on where he is, based on leverage. So again, really good scheme, really smart way to scheme a player open. And pick up some yardage. They end up getting that thing called back. I think there was a holding on the play, but still very good scheme. All right, I don't care when a fullback lines up at receiver for the purposes of breaking down film. All right, obviously it's important in game planning, and I don't really care about penalties either because a good play is a good play whether they call a holding penalty on it or not. All right, so now the moment we've been waiting for, the play of the week. All right, and not necessarily going to do one of these every time there is a loss. I'm, kind of childish like that. I don't like seeing, seeing that sort of thing in a loss. But I think that, we did see some good things. One thing that was great to see was scheming, mixing open in the pass game. We have been asking for that forever. If you were, an avid Cincy Jungle reader and you like my film rooms, I put together last year a monster of an article. I think it was like 4,000 words where I watched, I don't know, like 16 games from 12 different running backs over 3 years, something absurd like that. Every running back that you think of catching passes, basically, I watched some of the guys' games, coming up with ways that they can get the ball into mixing hands. They need to be doing that more. And here, they actually went out and did it. Good for them, right? So, goal line. 1st and 1 down on the goal line. And they come out, all right? They motion Boyd over to bunch. Now they've just got a tight end on the back, on the right hand side, all right, and it ends up getting to bunch basically on the left because they jet motion this guy, and it's under center. Mixon is in the backfield. So a couple of things going on here. Number one, so they're sending that fly motion, that jet motion, all right. Teams are afraid of the jet sweep because everybody runs it, right? So that's already getting the linebackers thinking about Boyd going that way. Now this Mike linebacker, he is stable, he is sturdy, he's holding right in, but all the other action is going to the left. Mixon takes off to the right. Now because this motion brought a defensive back with it, they have a vulnerable edge here. All right, they have a very vulnerable edge. There's one player on the edge. All right, so now that puts this guy in a bind, and he's thinking, am I supposed to cover this running back? Am I supposed to take care of a potential bootleg? What's my role? Mixon's able to scoot inside of him while he's kind of confused and looking in the backfield, and he's wide open. And now anybody else that was supposed to cover him, anybody coming from a linebacker spot, they're out of position. They're behind. So it's real easy. All right. And probably, a little bit of athleticism on Dalton's part to get out of there. But most people listening to this probably could have completed that pass. It's really just popping it in there. So they did a good job of scheming to get him open, using that action to get things moving in that direction and creating a situation where there's only one guy there. And then we get to see a little bit of a Joe Mixon dance. So once again, Matt Minich for Cincy Jungle. I'll be here every week breaking down games for the Chalk Talk on the Orange and Black Insider. So keep tuned in for that. Hopefully next week, some more positive plays, some good news, and we're all happy after beating the Steelers on Monday Night Football. Thanks for listening.